Yo, what's up guys, and welcome. Today we're having a look at producing and manufacturing wine as quickly as possible with the intent of industrial scale production. So, we'll be going through harvesting wild berries and grapes as quickly as possible, as well as automation of ironberry and olive collection, honey collection at the back there, and also obtaining apples for cider. We'll then go through brewing them to a high quality wine as quickly as possible, as well as crushing them. And then later on, towards the end, we'll also do some semi-automation for the brewing barrel, which will allow us to brew 8 batches at a time, so you don't need to refill the barrel the whole time. And then also, just a little bit at the end, we'll do some black apple harvesting as well for netherwort stew. Cool. Looking at the wines, going from most useful to least useful. First we have Wildberry wine, which simply amplifies the current effects on the player, so resistance 1 becomes 2, and so on. Next we have regular grape wine, which simply extends the duration of those buffs by a further 30 seconds to a maximum of 5 minutes. After that we have iron wine, which gives us permanent absorption up until the point where you take damage. After that we got mead. Mead gives us rejuvenation, and what that does is it amplifies all other sources of healing. So if you have lifesteal, vampirism, or regeneration already ongoing, this amplifies those effects, and it also completely negates decay, which you'll get from many of the bosses and lycanite mobs in the nether. Next we have cider. This simply gives us magic shielding for magic damage sources. And after that, at the very lowest tier, we have olive oil, which simply increases the saturation given by food. Pretty much useless, to be honest. I think it needs to be buffed. Alrighty, with that out of the way, let's have a look, starting with the grape harvesting. Alright, so this is what our grape harvesting looks like, and it's actually extremely simple to set up. You simply stand here, we hold right click, and as you can see, that is the rate at which we're harvesting. Of course, we just have a vine here, some twine running in there, and some greenhouse glass above. For those of you who didn't know, greenhouse affects 7 blocks downwards, so that one there is actually affecting this one right now. From here, this part's optional, some hoppers with a minecart with a hopper, and it simply puts our grapes in there. So if we just hold right click, la 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 la, and we see this number here going up and up and up, and voila. There we go. So to do this, this and the Wildberry one, we just need to get ourselves a load of bone meal. So easiest way to get these is simply to go to the surface and explore. You'll find these massive fossils that are obviously blocks of bone, so just go ahead, harvest them all, or occasionally you'll also get giant bone structures, which should give you a lot of bone blocks. So get yourself one of those and boom, you're sorted. As an alternative, if you guys have got a Zaffron farm, you can combine that with some looting or whatever. Zaffron farms actually drop a load of bone as well, as a secondary option. Cool. Let me show you guys how we build this little guy. Alright, so this is what it looks like to start with. I've just left these here because that's simply a crate with a hopper pointing into a hopper into there, so that's pretty simple. Just gonna leave that there. Here you put yourself some farmland. We of course plant our grape seed right there. This is just stone bricks. You can use any solid block there. And then you just attach your twine to that one and to that one. And then we just wait for this little guy to grow on up. And there we go. He's grown on up and he's created our little grape source block next to it there. So now we no longer need that, or that, or that, or that. Cool. Boink. Alrighty. So let me just get some glass. I have some glass on me there. I'm just going to do this and that. So it looks like this. And now for the important bits. Simply an observer. The main things here is basically just observer, redstone, and a dispenser. So right on top of this guy, at the top here, you hold on shift. You place an observer, observing him of course. And then next to this, right here, put any old solid block. Then we need a drop of redstone. Have I not got? I do. Drop of redstone there and there. And then we just add 2 temporary blocks here, and then we add a dispenser here. Boom. Dispenser obviously dispensing onto this little guy. And then we give this fella some bone meal. And that's it, basically. Those 3 blocks there are the entirety of this farm. Pretty straightforward. Now, I just like to do this because, you know, in true RLCraft fashion, if you allow them to, they will spew everywhere. So I just kind of box it in like this. Stop that from happening. Create a nice, neat little cube like I saw. And then on here we need a rail if you wanted to catch them all of the time. So put a rail there, and then minecart with hopper, and then you break out this rail afterwards. Boom. There we go. That's it. We're all done. Chuck that away. I'm just going to wait for a grape to form here, and then we will just quickly give it a test run so you guys can see. There we go. It has sprouted as a grape, and simply spam hold right click. Blah, 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 blah. Voila, grapes galore. Easy stuff. Cool. So that's our grape harvesting. The Wildberry one is even simpler. It is that exact setup. Dispenser, solid, hopper, and then we simply put our bush right there. So I guess I'll just quickly destroy this. So let's do that. So yeah, dirt, Wildberry bush, and there we go. Observer on top. Any old solid block there, and then once again just a dispenser right here, pointing to this bush. Redstone, redstone. Open up the dispenser, and we give him bone meal. This should be... there we go. And voila. And this one doesn't have the problem of, you know, grapes spewing everywhere, because these will come into our inventory. So just hold right click. And... beautiful. Voila. Wildberries, grapes, done. Alright. Now, next... we'll have a look at the automated Ironberry / olive harvesting over there. This contraption over here is my build for an automatic Ironberry farm. As you can see, we are simply harvesting the leaves with some pistons at the top there with this design, and the drops pop on through, water system into hopper, drops come in here, ironberries, and it also gives a load of seeds, which is pretty annoying. Right, let me tear this guy up and show you guys how we build this dude. Alright, so to build this bad boy, you simply start by digging yourself a 5x5 hole like so. And bang, right in the middle, that's where our dirt block will be for our sapling. And then from here, you just kind of fill in these corners here. So we get this shape. Obviously, later on, we'll take that away. And then we have this. So it's 2 blocks by 3. We got that little pattern there. 2 by 3, 2 by 3. Voila. Then, from where this dirt block is, we look straight ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 5th block, we build our roof here. Very important that you give it sky access, so our sapling will be right here, of course. That's why I'm building with glass. So I've simply dug a hole 3 by 3 sky access, otherwise this tree won't grow. Cool. Then we just build this little roof here in this formation, which is, you know, just a mimic of what we have underneath, of course. Apart from these corners here, here, there, there. Make these solid blocks for redstone things later on. Alrighty. Then we just stand on this block here, look straight above, give it glass there, 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 and there. That shape there. This is just so that we stunt the growth of our tree. It'll grow 1, 2, 3 blocks tall, it'll stop there. This is where the leaves will start growing, so we isolate this layer here. And then the rest of all these, we make these pistons, which is where our glorious harvesting will be happening. Apart from the solid blocks, those will be for observers. Cool. So that is effectively what our harvest pattern looks like. Very important that you don't make this one glass, otherwise this side and this side will grow at the same rate, and it will stop eventually. By slowing this one, not allowing a leaf block to grow there, we slow the growth to this side so that our pistons are always firing. Right. From here we need grates, which is one of my favorite new blocks. So great, I put you in the place of bone meal there. Great, these are simply iron bars that you put together. It gives you a grate, like I saw. Iron bar, blah 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 blah, iron grate. Cool. And then, not this top layer, this layer right here. We start by filling all of these with grates, like so. This will stop our leaves from growing downward where we don't want them to, but yet at the same time allowing our drops like the ironberries and whatnot to fall on through. Yay. Cool. Nice little grid-like pattern. And now we break out this block here, so right underneath here, so our tree can grow on through, rather. And then this corner here, 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 and here. Cool, so we get this little formation here. Alright, now from here, this one needs to go, that one also needs to go, and this side the same. You go, you go. Underneath this solid block, this is once again where our observers will be, and they will be observing this block right here. So we can put a temporary block here, there, there, and there. Just so that we can place our observers. So you look there, you look there. You observe, you observe. And now to lead this signal upwards, we place another observer, observing this observer, so right there, and then another one. Wait, that one is, so make sure they're pointing downwards, so not like I'm doing it. Why are you doing that? There we go. So upwards. Observers are really weird but amazing blocks. All this simply does is, he will observe the leaves, he observes, he's observing something, and then he observes, he's observing something, and it sends the redstone signals up here. Nice little trick. Bam, 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 bam. That's most of the complicated stuff all done. We'll just add the redstone in a moment. Just fill this up to stop our drops from flying everywhere. I'll just give it one last look over to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, so from there, here is where our redstone is coming from. Don't worry about pistons, by the way. So we're using glass here, of course, and lines of redstone. They are all considered to be translucent blocks, so they don't block sky axis, which is pretty cool. Particularly pistons, since they look like solid blocks, don't they? Redstone, redstone, redstone. Nice little pattern like so. Now it'll start firing whenever we remove one of these. And that's what we're dealing with. So our tree will grow here, it'll mature, it'll get stunted there, it'll branch out the leaves, and then this top layer will always grow before the bottom layer. So once that's full of leaves, it'll pop here in front, he will trigger, which means the top leaf block will break, making that an invalid leaf block, so it will disappear by itself when it gets an update. And then that just simply causes them to fire again, and the process begins all over. And bada boom, bada bing, we have automated Ironberry harvesting. From here, we just need to make some minor details, so like that. That will be a water block there, to simply push it to there. In this corner, it's just a hopper into whatever inventory, pretty simple. And we make it like this, voila. Water block, you there. And there's our little collection system. Beautiful. Now let's place our... what's this? Ironberry seed. Yeah, that's one. Place him in there. And have I got bone meal just to speed this up a little? There we go. And this is basically what it looks like. So, like I said, this is a passive AFK one, so it'll just keep on harvesting. This is the smallest and most efficient one that I could come up with without getting this to grow to like a gigantic tree. So, based on the size, not too bad, seeing as you can do all of this indoors in base and whatnot. And yeah, as you can see, you can use bone meal on this to make it grow a little bit faster. However, I don't know how desperate you are for Ironberry, for Ironberries, but the conversion rate from bone meal is pretty bad. Yeah, I'll show you guys. If I just stand here and hold right click. See, seeds, mostly seeds. You will of course get the seeds again. You'll get drops here every now and then as well, but you know, it can't be helped. It's really hard to just get those little drops out. I'm just gonna stand here. Well, there goes one Ironberry. There goes another. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm gonna stop now. So you'll probably get around, I don't know, maybe 10, a little bit more, maybe 12 per stack of bone meal, which you know is absolutely, well, I don't. It depends how much bone you have. Anyway, in my opinion, it's not worth it. I'd rather just leave this to AFK do its thing, you know, and make them come in passively. That is that, and now this one also doubles as an olive. If you wanted olives, I don't know what for, but anyway, a nice little thing about this one is we can replace this guy here with an olive. Pip. Nope. And we just bone meal him to speed it up a little bit. And there goes an olive. Boink, more olives. Now the thing is with these guys, he will eventually grow a branch like that. So we don't want this branch to be above here, so leaves can come on through. So, bad branch. Just break that branch out. And now we can continue to bone meal him, so the leaves will keep on doing its thing. Bada boom, bada bing. And if you see any branches like these, above this dude again, break them away. Up until it stops that behavior. And then we still get the leaves as they go on. There you go. Nice, useless olives for you. But yeah, it's quite nice having a farm that can do both, actually. This was unintended. Alright. Now, with that one done, next we'll be doing our Vez honey, which is in there. So, for mead, we of course need Vez honey, which means you need to get yourself a Vespid Queen. They spawn in swamps and jungle biomes. And yeah, I've already made a video on how to tame these, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. I've been playing Sims with the hive, as you can see. These are tall lamps by Very Commodities, and these are simply barrels. They will destroy any other blocks that you place in here, but I found that these tall lamps and blocks with inventory like this and furnaces and whatnot, they don't destroy them, so I'm simply using this to light up the place. Right, so once you've found a queen, we can actually make this process a bit easier to get them to build the structure by feeding them insect treats. That is simply 5 mushrooms and some bone. Right, so you can go ahead, name tag her, and once you right click her, the taming bar will go up all the way till not quite tame, but it will make her tolerate us. So that will make her neutral towards us as well as the rest of her swarm. So once she's tamed, we can then simply use the lead on her to drag her off, which is what I've done, into the space and then tie her to a fence post. So she stays here and then just lure a regular Vespid over so she starts building the hive, or well, they start building the hive. Okay. And then as you can see, I'm still in creative. We have got hive immunity, so we can even give him a whack. Okay. Obviously don't punch the queen, but yeah, we can give them a whack and they won't do a thing to us. This is now our hive. Cool. So, interesting thing with this honey is, if you stand here and you right click it, it will give you water. So, that's not what we want, obviously. So what I recommend is get yourself a grappling hook. We're gonna have to swan dive into this honey, so grappling hook, yeet. And then, hallelujah. We lower ourselves all the way into this honey. Now, once we are submerged in this pool of honey, if we now start right-clicking, starts giving us honey and sometimes water as well. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. We now have 7 bottles of honey, and it also gave us a couple of water bottles as well. Kinda wish that I could just empty these, but anyway. There we go. Now we simply grappling hook our way up. The reason, by the way, why you want to use the grappling hook is simply because this stuff is very thick and sticky like lava, so if you jump in there without this, then you'll probably, well, you'll have a high chance of drowning. And there we go, that's our beautiful little Vespid hive. I do hate the sound of Vespids though, good thing that they are my hive, because that noise, I guess, I don't know, something infuriates me about that noise. But I do like having them as pets. Pretty cool. Alright. And that's what our little hive looks like for honey harvesting and whatnot. I've got your bottle of honey, blah blah blah, same process, go chuck that into your barrels and so on. Now, lastly, for apples. Apples is an absolute nightmare, because they need to be mature trees, and in order to harvest them, it is just a complete headache, I'll be honest with you. Easiest way to get your apples, one of these guys, simply a farmer villager. Yes, Leviosa. And they'll sell you apples for emeralds. Quickest, easiest way. You'll obviously also find them in chests and so on. Cool. So that is all of our harvesting and so on done. Now we'll get to the brewing, crushing and so on. Moving on to crushing. This concept is not my idea, so I am not taking credit for it. This was actually created by you guys, the wonderful RLCraft community. I've just made some minor tweaks to it. I'm including this simply because this is currently the fastest way of crushing grapes and so on. I've just made some minor tweaks to it. Okay, let me show you guys how this works. Let's destroy these. These are just a bunch of armor stands. That's a piston. And here we have some solid blocks. So what we do is break these away. Put temporary blocks there and there. That is just a lever. So start by putting your crushing tub down there. Here you can put any old block, just solids behind there, while they're all off, like so. And then I've just simply added a couple of crates here to hold my grapes and whatnot that I want to be crushing at the time. Breaking these away. Now, looking right up here, you add yourself about 8 or more armor stands. And one more for good measure. Chuck those away, don't need those. Above here, right above here, we now add another block. And we add a piston, like so. And then from here, we just add an observer, boink. And then we add another observer, observing this observer down here. Then what this gives us is a quick firing redstone signal. Break these away. We grab ourselves a blotch of redstone, like so. Put it there. We get our rapid firing piston, which crushes these. It looks ridiculous. And then to stop this from being annoying, we just add ourselves a little lever so we can actually switch this off to stop us from being driven into madness. Alright, from here, you can just add your grapes in there, or what I do is I just add myself a hopper down here pointing into there, and one there. You can add another one at the back depending on your preference and so on, and that just simply keeps that stocked up. And now we just whammo. As you can see, it is very fast and pretty painless. Boink and blammo. Easy as that. That is your high-speed crushing, and like I said, once again, not my design, not taking credit. This is simply the fastest way currently of processing your grapes and so on. Now, as for brewing our wine to the highest quality possible, which is probably the most painstaking thing throughout this whole ordeal, I recommend that you use 8 brewing barrels at a time. So, take your juice, just drag it out like that, and then we can simply just add one at a time into each barrel to start with. Go through them, just simply shift click, and so on. And then we have 8, and then we simply need to wait for these to brew and then see which one gives us the highest quality wine. You'll want to look for one that is 0.75 around, because you shouldn't be able to get much higher than that. I think 0.8 is the highest that you can get. So if you get one that's, say, that's close to 70 or 70 itself, that's fine. And we just keep that one aside and we use that as our base in the next batch. Once that initial brewing process has completed, you take your highest quality wine, empty them all, go to a single barrel and add the wine that you got in there, along with 8 of the juice. So it'll give us 8 that is equivalent or higher of this one, with this one being our base. And then we just wait for that, so we can simply add the outcome to all of these, so we can once again take the best result out of all 8 of them to make a better quality wine. Once we've allowed for this brewing to complete, you'll have a wine that is the same quality or higher than the base that we had in initially. So we'll have 8 of those, and then we just take 8 of the juice once more. And then if we spread them out like this, if we simply hold shift starting with the wine first and drag upwards, it'll refill it quite easily. Otherwise you just need to do a lot of clicking and so on, so it's just a simple little trick. Just to refill these bad boys a little bit faster. And that is it, they're all filled up. Now we just need to wait for this, see which one out of all 8 of these, once again, gives us the highest quality. Like basically just get rid of the rest of them, and then add the highest quality one back into a single barrel, once again with 8 juice, and we rinse and repeat all the way up until we get a quality of 1.0, which is obviously the maximum quality, which is what we'll be using for our brewing automation over there. And finally, here we have our brewing barrel semi-automation. Our only limitation is this little input slot right here, which doesn't seem to respond to any of the other inputs. So sadly, we need to fill this one up with a full stack of glass bottles, but that will still equate into 8 stacks of brewing before this runs out. So here we simply have a hopper with our inventory, and we just feed a load of whichever type of juice it is for the wine that you're brewing. And in this bottom part, we build, this is a segment of an item filter, which just locks this hopper so that it only takes through the quality wine of 1.0, so the rest of the bottles stay in there. Lovely stuff. Let's take this one out quickly. That barrel, you go there, and I'll just show you guys how we build this. So I recommend that you add the quality wine first, by the way. You know, you can just shift pick it up afterwards anyway, like so. Like so. So make sure the wine's in there first, otherwise this bottle will get sucked out by these hoppers. And then from here, I'll just add a temporary block there for now. Hopper, shift right click this hopper into there, so like so, shift right click, put your inventory on top, la-di-da, and then here underneath, we do this. So add a temporary block here, then you add a hopper, shift right click into that block so it's pointing into there, and then we can break it away. And this hopper we will eventually be filling up with 37 blocks of cobblestone on the right hand side, and on the left hand side this is the slot where the bottom hopper will be taking from. So it'll recognize this only when this number increases of this particular quality of wine will it take this through to the bottom hopper, which will then dispense into there. And that is our process. As you can notice, this one is now locked thanks to this mechanism because of redstone signal. So what we can do is, just to stop this from taking through everything, let me just remove this hopper for now, like so. I'll put you here so I don't need to restack all of these. Yeah, just cobblestone 12, 12, 12, 1. There we go. And then from here, directly behind this one, just have a couple blocks at 1, 2, 3 blocks. Leave this one empty. Can actually just do this, like so. Break that one. You have a block there. Here is a repeater pointing into another solid block with a redstone torch. So it'll simply look like this to start with. There we go. At the top here we add our redstone comparator pointing away from this hopper, so it'll pick up the inventory. That then sends redstone. Have I got redstone? Redstone signal here. Redstone, redstone there, redstone there. And then here we set our little repeater, pointing into that block, pointing that way, straight into that block. And then lastly we add our redstone torch. Boink, boink, boink. Redstone torch right against this block there, boink. So it is powering this block above it, which in turn locks this hopper. Alright. Then from there, it's gonna replace this guy. Replace him there where he was. And as you can see, that fires up when it reaches the inventory here. So it keeps its inventory, and only when our brewing barrel is done will it take that inventory through. I can't place it. There we go. So then lastly, we add our brewing barrel. Boink. Which should already have this wine in there. And then we let it brew on through. And then I'll just stand here and observe, and you guys can see the outcome. But all this will do is it'll keep on brewing, brewing, brewing up until eventually you will get an inferior quality wine. Say 1 out of every 10 batches or so will be a quality of 0.99. When that happens, they will get stuck here. So you'll once again need to empty them out. But I've had a pretty good run with these. I was able to brew all of these before that happened. So yeah, just load it on up, and it's just just an absolute load of wine that you can just leave running 8 batches at a time without the need to refill them constantly. And there we have, our brewing is basically complete. Just open up this inventory and just keep watch. Then if it is quality 1.0 wine, then it'll pour on through to this bottom inventory. And there we go. Wine has fed on through. Very good. And as you can see, it's already refilled from this top inventory over here. Got our juice back in there, waiting to be brewed. And so it goes. Just leave this to brew on over, through the background. You could probably build a couple of these. If you leave a block space in between so the redstone doesn't interact with one another, you can probably build yourself a couple of columns of these to brew your different types of wine, depending on how much you actually want to be brewing. And now, lastly, I'll show you guys the black apple farm. Now, the only reason why I think this is relevant is because netherwort stew, if you guys don't know, is amazing stuff. When you eat this, it will set you on fire for a few seconds, but you make this with netherwort, which is super easy to farm, so no need to go into that. Black apple, and a bowl. This clears all negative effects currently on the player, like all of them. Only the negative effects, and not the positive effects, which is super good, including inebriation. So if you drink too much booze, eat one of these, it'll cure that. As silver armor, or just cure in general, doesn't take inebriation away anymore. You have to drink like loads of coffee. So this is super good, which is why I'm including this. So when you guys do get drunk off your faces, you can simply eat this in order to get rid of that inebriation. Cool. So let me show you guys how we build this. We simply do this. This is a dispenser and a dispenser, once again with some bone meal. Then we just break all this away. Start from the bare bones. Right, so this is simply netherrack, of course, and this is just a couple of glass blocks. Doesn't really matter as much. Can be any solid block. From there, we just need a dispenser, which I don't have on me at the moment. So dispenser, place it from over here. Let me just get rid of those for now. Dispenser over here, and another one over here, pointing straight in here in the middle. Top this off like so. Any old block will do. I just choose to use glass. And then from here, once again, we use observer. So we add these like so. This one is facing downwards, and then we once again add one facing upwards to give ourselves that little redstone loop. Just fill this up like so, and then we add ourselves solid block there for our signal to go across. And then redstone, 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 to simply trigger those dispensers underneath. Here, we just want a lever to stop this being annoying, so it doesn't always make that noise. Just overrides that redstone signal. In here, we just add our bone meal into that. And now for this part, all we do is we just put our black apple seeds in our offhand, and then in our main hand, we just put a mattock or an axe. Cool. And then what we have is we simply, well, once we switch this on, plant our seed there, boom, it matures, break, and you just hold right click, and occasionally when it's mature, you just click, so. I just pop myself into survival so that I don't instantly break this, but yeah, simply this. And as you can see, we are simply converting all of our black apple seeds into black apples, and that is simply how we roll. You guys probably want this if you want, I think, demon treats as well, I believe. I think it is demon, let's see, black apple. Let me just have a quick look. I really should have looked at this before, but I think black apples also used in, yeah. So netherite and black apples, you use them to make demon treats, so pretty good for those as well. And presto, there you go. That is that part done. In fact, I think that's everything done. Yes, that is. Alrighty. Cool. So let me do the thing. And there we go, guys. That is everything I have for you guys for today. Hope you guys found it useful, entertaining, and all that good stuff. If you guys did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. Always helps a lot. Apart from that, I've also got a Discord, which is quite new, still under development, and so on. I'll leave the link in the video description if you guys did want to pop on by for whatever reason. Alright, cool. And this is Zerger saying, have yourselves an awesome day, happy RLCrafting guys, and you take care. Cheers.